the concept that the best way to define this, if you're trying to like orchestrate or understand in your head, is the primary role. So you have 3 positions on any team: lead, manage, follow. If at any point in time, even on a 2-person team, if you're not holding lead, manage, and follow, it doesn't work, right? So even on a 2-person team, all 3 have to be held. The primary roles of each, once you understand those, it makes sense. So as a follower, you're following when you're taking action. Like if you are actively doing something to move us towards a desired end state, you're following. If you're directly evoking action, and the key word there is directly and evoking. So if I'm directly evoking effective action in someone else, I'm leading. If I'm creating the space for an individual to lead or follow, I'm managing. So my job as a manager is to create, enable, and support leadership at every level. If I'm taking action, I could have the title of CEO, but if I'm actually doing something, I'm not managing, I'm not leading.
Yeah.
And that concept of like, okay, leading and following, when I'm taking action, I'm following. When I'm evoking action, I'm leading. At that point, we notice, oh, all of us evoke action in other people every day. Therefore, every day we do some leadership.
So I read Traction a few years ago, right? I think a lot of people that are listening to the podcast have read Traction or implemented some sort of Traction, some form of it. And there's a difference there in their accountability chart. There's LMA, lead, manage, accountability. You say lead, manage, and follow.
Right.
Can you help me bridge that gap?
You tell me your understanding of LMA.
So this person has to lead the people underneath them, manage them, and hold them accountable. To me, accountability and manage are the same thing. To me.
So the actions, I'll go into what I consider the behaviors, the critical actions of a manager versus a lead follower. Because lead following, to me, I put leader and follower in the same category. They're the same, right? If you're following really, really well, you're going to naturally lead others into more effective action. So your most effective followers will become the leaders within your organization. So leaders and followers are the same thing. So managers, I find, have 3 responsibilities. The first is to create and communicate the desired end state, the why, where are we going? The second one, and that might be what they mean by lead, right? In that lead, manage, accountability. Second piece, once I have the clear desired end state, my job is to make sure that everyone has the resources, the knowledge, and the authority to lead, right? To make good choices on their own. So that's a lot about education, resourcing, budgeting, that type of stuff. The last one is be a safety net in case of failure, right? And that's one I've never heard anyone else ever talk about that, right? No. The most effective managers in the world, the ones that create the best leaders, if you ask the leaders under the best managers in the world, how did you feel? What they inevitably will say is empowered and safe, right? I can make decisions. I knew if I made decisions, they got my back. That critical role is unbelievably important. Now, accountability. Do I have to hold someone accountable if I've created an environment where they're safe, they're empowered to lead, they have all the resources to do it, and they understand and hold the reason why? No, there is no accountability. It's automatic. Now, when we get into the actions of a lead follower, clearly understate the desired end state, right? So like, I will not allow someone to task me unless I understand why I'm doing something. Second thing is always collect resources. Like I always have to create knowledge, skills, authority, resources. The third one, which is critically important, is over-report information. So if a manager needs accountability, their lead followers aren't fulfilling one of their primary roles, which is over-report. Right? Why, as a follower, do I want to over-report? I can't be wrong if you know everything I'm doing. Right? I can't ever be wrong. You can change your mind, but you have to say you changed your mind because you know exactly what I'm doing. If I'm over-reporting, then as a manager, I don't need to hold you accountable. Yeah. And the last one is the most important one, ask for help, right, as a leader.
So how do we encourage over reporting? Because I think that's one of the frustrations, right? As a manager, you feel like you have to drag the people along.
I would say the biggest thing is you have to create the environment where it means more to them to give you information than it means to you to get it.
So how do we do that?
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So how do we create that environment?
What you have to understand their purpose. What do they care about?
Right.
And once I understand what they care about, then I can tie reporting to what they care about, and they're doing it for themselves. They're not doing it for me.
Yeah.
If I'm making them do it for me, you're pushing a boulder uphill.
Right. I'm pulling it from you.
Yep, I'm pulling it. No, you have to want to do it more than I need it.
Yeah.
And so I have to understand what's driving you. Once I understand what's driving you, that purpose, we've talked about purpose a number of times, alignment of purpose. If I deeply understand your purpose, I can get you to do anything.
Yeah. And so for everyone that's ever dealt with a salesperson that's not putting in their numbers, like there's some gold right here. The other thing you touched on was safety. And I think like I've worked with a lot of people that struggle with delegation.
Yep.
And one mistake I see all the time is if someone makes a mistake, they freak out. And if they make a mistake and you freak out, they're not going to make any more mistakes. And now you're stuck with a person that's frozen in action.
Yeah. Fear will freeze them in action all the time.
So how do you empower people, or how do you encourage that safety net? Because it's something that I've kind of have to like. I swear I have this conversation like once a week.
So probably everyone's not going to like this answer. Maybe you got to slow down to go faster. I have to be 3 steps ahead of you all the time. I got to be 3 steps ahead of everyone all the time. Meaning when you fail, I have to have already understood what failure that's going to be and ensure that it doesn't hurt you or the organization. And I have to let you fail. So my people will often get surprised. It's usually only 2 times and then they expect it. They'll come to me completely embarrassed, upset, like, oh shit, I got to tell you what happened. I'm like, oh, this happened. You knew? I'm like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. And here's the 3 things I did to make sure that didn't hurt you. It didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt the organization. And in that, they get amazing trust.
Yeah.
Now, and then it's like, okay, it's a learning point. Like I created this space for you to learn. What lesson did we learn in this? So failures are never really failures. Like I said at the beginning, we plan to fail. Every plan that we put together, we have 19 versions of it that go to crap. So my job as a manager is to make sure that you can never hurt yourself. You can never hurt the organization.
Yeah.
And in doing that, you then have the confidence to work on it, like take chances, make mistakes, and bring them forward. The other one, I'd say a big one, is you have to create an environment where no is okay.
Yeah. Can you expand upon that?
Yeah. Most people, it's yes. Like if the CEO comes and if I go, like, again, if you watch our calls, like I can get on a call, CEO, go to my junior person and say, Matthew, I want you to do this. And you'll hear him say no. And that doesn't happen often. But we have a formula. You're allowed to say no if you tell me why it's a no and how you make it a yes.
Yeah.
So we want people to say no more than they say yes, because then their yes means something. If you say yes to everything and you don't hold your commitments, your yes means nothing.
Right.
And so that you have to empower your team to say no. Why are you saying no? And how do we make it a yes?